Tell you what, guys, nice to be out here on the grass. I tell you that. Golly.
Coach, do you think Cooper's shown enough in fall camp to know that you're going to burn that red shirt this year, or where does he kind of stand?
Yeah, I would imagine he's going to play because what he's shown is instincts and the ability to learn. But probably as important as anything, trust in the instincts and not questioning himself at all. So he's a guy that can find the ball, and I anticipate him playing.
With him, is he kind of the back? Where do you see him? Is he behind Tackett right now? Is kind of the backup?
Yeah, there's still some options. You know, Tommy Heiberger knows the Mike position, and he's playing a lot of different ball. He's a guy that can definitely go in there. But yeah, probably at this point he's right there behind Tackett, and a lot of guys are trying to push him.
Like you had mentioned before fall camp started, that some of the areas of emphasis were more TFLs, takeaways, fewer explosives. From what you've seen in camp so far, what gives you optimism this group will be better in all those areas?
Okay, so we are seeing those things, which is important. But the other thing is when we do give up a play, they know that the objective wasn't no 8-yard plays. Like they don't care, and they move on much faster and refocus on, hey, one TFL here, and we're right back in charge of this series. So that's what I'm seeing. Yes, I'm seeing those things happen, but I'm seeing the belief that even if we give up something, as long as it's not an explosive, as long as we just stay on track with our objectives, we'll be back in charge of the series.
Does that speak to the mentality shift you had mentioned you were hoping to see this year when you look at last year and this year's group?
That's exactly speaking to the mentality shift, where it's not about being perfect every down or surviving every down. It's about being on the attack and understanding even if the offense makes a play, all it takes is one out of us to put us back in charge of the series.
Like a lot of times that stuff is contagious. Is that what you're hoping for? Are you seeing any of that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously attitudes are contagious. We all know that. One of the things we tally every day besides those base objectives of takeaways and tackles for loss, et cetera, is what we call our culture count. And guys get points for celebrating with teammates. So hopefully you watch and you see when a guy makes a play, a bunch of other people running out there, because it is contagious. Now you feel like you made the tackle, even if you weren't the one that made the tackle. But also, it hits the offense a lot more when there's 11 dudes there celebrating. So I am seeing that contagiousness, and that needs to keep rolling even if we give up a play.
You guys didn't get to see Mason Reiger in the spring, and he's always been the guy that kind of stood out as one of your better pass rushers. What stood out about how he goes about preparing and being able to come out here and play?
You know, he's about as much of a professional as we have in terms of when he steps foot on the field, it is going to be a great rep, right? And some people, there's a tired rep here, there's a non-focused rep there, or if you have a day where, hey, you're only going to get 10 reps today, they have a tendency to relax a little bit. This is a pro where every rep you know you're going to get his best. And quite honestly, we love people that we have to protect. Like we have to hold them back.
As far as Thomas Heiberger goes, what's, obviously he's a guy who's new to the position. What did you like about him in terms of him moving to the inside, and since he's come back, what's kind of stood out to you that's allowed you to kind of give him a good rep?
Yeah, so a couple things. Number one, I've really been impressed with his movement skills for an inside linebacker. Like he really stays square. He doesn't want to turn his hips and run sideways. Doesn't want to cross over, so he naturally has good inside linebacker movement skills. The other thing he has, he's a really sharp kid, so he's confident out there communicating. He has a pretty good understanding of who needs to be communicated with at that given time, and we can put a lot on his plate in that regards too. So the combination of his natural movement skills looks natural to him, and his football IQ and overall intelligence, that puts him in a good spot.
Going back to Cooper, was there a single moment where you realized, okay, this guy's ready right away?
Not a single moment, but how about more like a single practice where all of a sudden you're like, dude made 20 tackles, right? The things just pile up. He's around the ball. He's around. If you watched him play high school ball, I'm going to be real with you. How many 5-star moments did he have? I don't know, but every single play was at the football. Now, does that translate to Big Ten football? You don't know, and he's starting to show it does.
Of that Tackett Curtis, what's kind of stood out to you about him this camp before you over there? He was talking about just how much better he feels, and as far as the hip issues he was dealing with.
So I would say a big thing is this: last year when the ball declared in an obvious fashion, like it was going to the sideline on a swing pass, you could see that guy play like a bat out of hell. But when it was gray, he was a little more slow to pull the trigger to believe what he saw. Now I'm seeing that sideline to sideline speed consistently, even on in the box plays. He's believing what he's seeing and triggering, even if it's not an obvious toss.
Like, what kind of flexibility does it give you to have inside linebackers like Tackett and Christian that have the speed that they do?
This is a game of space, and actually we feel good with the way it is now that hey, we're not playing in quite as much space on a day in, day out basis. It's about toughness going against our offense, but we know that their skill set allows them to play in space. So transitioning that way and their overall speed, I think is fantastic. It fits their skill set and what we're doing every day trains their in-box mentality.
Turner, how's he? I mean, progressing as well after coming there?
He's doing a good job. He's shown that he will be very physical. Right? If you had a chance, I'm not sure you guys have practiced the whole day or not, but we did a special teams alley drill, and I mean, he went hard and got after it and be honestly dominated some of those reps, which is what you want to see. It's a challenge for him, not because of the level he came at, but because some of the dudes we have in that room. So as long as he keeps his head up and keeps working, he's a physical kid. He's in a good spot.
Where would you say Mason Bosa is at this point? I know his first camp didn't get his spring.
He some of the slippery things where he's really hard to block that you saw on high school film, you're seeing it out here. He is, much like Cooper, a pretty sharp kid, but who says, I don't give it when he's on the football field and just goes. So that's really good for him. Obviously, it's a lot harder when you don't come in for the spring. I think he's really far along for a guy that did not go through the spring. So, this is probably, be honest with you, this is a huge next 7 days for him, so we can see how far did we come during camp so that we can have a plan when you start doing scout team exchanges and game planning.
Is that sort of mindset unique among, a true freshman to be, I don't really care, just go and play?
Yes. You usually either see someone who wants to be so perfect as a new guy that they're slow to trigger, or someone who doesn't even care to learn and just runs around like a chicken with his head cut off. It's pretty rare to see a guy who really wants to learn and really wants to do it right, but once the ball snapped, he trusts himself.
Is that more exciting than now that you have two of those guys?
It's very exciting. It's very exciting. Absolutely, it's very exciting. But the leadership and skill sets of the older guys as you come into the season is even more exciting.
Looking at the corner spot real quick, just the boundary position in particular, do you see it as more of a rotation between Agard and Hill, or do you want one of those guys to take a lead? Or
I think that it needs to be clearly defined by game week as to what the rotation will be. But what I love is that they're both pushing each other really hard, and it's not like all of a sudden you're in a situation where you got one guy and no matter what happens, he knows he's going to be the guy. So it's really good that those guys are really pushing each other to get better, and we have to have things clearly defined by game week.
You feel good about depth-wise? What position maybe? What are you a little bit worried about right now?
I feel really good about the front four in terms of depth. I think we can really keep them fresh, which is critical. I mean, it's great to be bigger and stronger and longer and all that stuff, but if you're tired up there, fatigue makes cowards of us all, right? So I'm really excited that we're going to be able to keep them fresh there. The growth and ability that we'll see in the first few games with the third and fourth corners and third and fourth safeties, that's what I'm really excited to see. I'm pleased with how they're doing, but they haven't done it on the field at this level yet.
Gerald Peterson's one of those veteran guys that's going to be up front. What's kind of stood out to you about his camp? And
I think he's a very good leader, especially for the front four. He's consistent in terms of communication and being on guys. He does, as you see him always out here after practice, he hones his skills. I think where he's a lot better this year is he truly understands his strengths and weaknesses, and probably in the past he wanted to make plays so bad that he made some bad decisions, and he's understanding when's the time to take shots and when's the time to be a great teammate.